What is up, everyone? Welcome to Dead with My Friends podcast. I am your co-host, Steve.
And I'm your co-host, Nick.
And this is episode 40, where we will be talking about the Platinum Dunes 2009 Friday the 13th remake. So we've approached the summertime, and we figured we'd kick it off with a summertime slasher. We've got a Friday the 13th in the month of June this year.
The only one of the year. The only Friday the 13th
only one
of the year. Yup.
And this movie takes place, and the original, and most of them take place during June 13th. So we figured, fuck it, let's talk the 2009 Platinum Dune remake. And I've got my copy from the Shout Factory box set.
Yep. I would say probably the definitive box set, even though Arrow Video is now doing re-releases in 4K UHD for them.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. I remember, being at work, and I was like, Nick, I don't have enough service. Can you score me a copy? Because these were selling like wildfire.
Oh my gosh, yeah, dude.
This was a big deal when this box set came out.
Yeah, well, this franchise has been plagued by fucking lawsuits and rights issues and things like that. So, and I mean that whole thing has affected the Friday the 13th franchise in so many ways. So for one, the fact that we have that awesome box set from Arrow Video, from Shout Factory, is amazing. They made kind of like the impossible happen. It was all the films, and they're like all originating from the original camera negatives. So it's, as much as these aren't 4K UHD copies, you are still getting the best possible upscale on these, which is amazing. I'm curious to see the Arrow Video versions. Maybe I'll grab one. I don't know. I know that they have Jason Goes to Hell. They're doing this current film.
Yeah, they did this actually first, and then they just released Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X on 4K UHD, and the slips look amazing.
I don't like them.
You don't like them?
No,
I dig them. I'm not gonna lie, I dig them. I think they look sick.
No.
Especially the Jason X one looks pretty sick. But I don't feel the need to double dip because, being a collector, having bills, responsibility as an adult,
Yeah.
priorities, man. So it's like I gotta pick and choose like what I'm adding to the collection.
This hobby's expensive, dude.
It's expensive. It's oversaturated. Slip covers go like that. It's
well, we could talk about that a little bit later.
Oh yeah, we will. We will.
Ordeal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm glad that we're talking this film, because it came out in 2009. So, I have a really good memory with this film.
Me too.
I was there opening day. I was there opening night. This movie, dude, it was a big deal because, for one, it was Friday the 13th. I love the franchise. I was so excited to see where they were going to go with this. And as it turned out, it came out the day of Brendan's 17th birthday. So we were 17 years old. Well, I was 16, and this is going to play into my story that I want to tell about this because I think it's a really good story.
Yeah.
So it was Brendan's 17th birthday, and I was just like, dude, we gotta fucking go see Friday the 13th for your birthday. So we made that happen. You were there?
Yeah,
you weren't there with me.
I wasn't there, but I was there opening night, February 13th, 2009. I was in 10th grade. My friend Alia, his mom, she was a real one. She packed a bunch of us in the minivan and brought us, and packed out theater, had all the goods, had some M&Ms, popcorn, sodas. We were just, it was a fucking good weekend, dude. It was, it was just like, holy shit, like, this is a big deal. Like, coming off of like Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, like, the anticipation, and then like, just like the opening, which we'll get more into like after our stories, but like that first 15 minutes, like when the opening titles hit, because at first, like even I was like, why the fuck is everything happening so fast? Like this shit's crazy. But then like the title credits hit and you're like, now the movie's beginning, and everyone in the theater, dude, was fucking cheering. Like people were losing their shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm looking around, I'm soaking this in. I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
This was a great time, man.
This is an experience right here.
Yeah. I'm glad that we got to experience, some of these things, like the Rob Zombie films, we were able to see in theaters. Those came out in 2007, 2008. So it's like those were the reboot of the horror franchises.
I mean that we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 03, which this is the same director.
Yeah, Marcus.
My mom brought me and Anthony to see that when that came out.
I didn't see it in the theater, but I saw the beginning in theaters with my mom. That was a great time.
Yeah,
we can talk more about all that other shit later. We don't want to fucking bore everybody with this side banter with all this nostalgia, but
for sure.
If you want to finish what you were saying,
I was just saying like that, like this was like a time where like remakes were just booming, and like another honorable one would be like, The Hills Have Eyes, Alexandre Aja Hills Have Eyes remake, which in my opinion I think is better than the original. As much as I love the original,
100%.
But that movie is visceral and violent as fuck because it's a French director, French Extreme.
Yeah.
Just he's done
He's one of the best. He's one of my favorites.
Also, the House of Wax remake, which has Jared,
Padalecki, yeah.
Yeah, he's in that as well. Like, that's a great remake, which to me is more of in the spirit of Tourist Trap than House of Wax. I mean, yes, there's wax figures, but if you like replace the mannequins in Tourist Trap with wax figures,
Very good observation. I didn't really think of that. I also haven't seen that movie in a long time. But
yeah, it's been a while for me too.
But I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, man, I mean the early to mid 2000s, there was just like that boom with the franchise revamps.
Yeah. Also, My Bloody Valentine 3D, which has Jared's co-star in Supernatural.
Yep.
I'm drawing a blank on his name.
I don't remember his name.
But he was in the 09 remake, and that was a fun one.
I like that one a lot. Yeah, I enjoyed that. And then just like Platinum Dunes, where they were leading the charge in regards to bringing back like all of these franchises. Like they did Friday the 13th, this version. They did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They did Amityville Horror.
That's right, the 05 with Ryan Reynolds.
Yep, and then they also did, which is probably the least fan favorite, Nightmare on Elm Street over them all.
Oh, yeah, fuck that movie.
I don't think it's that bad.
Hot ass garbage.
I don't think it's so. I don't love the look of
burnt
Freddy
pepperoni looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
Listen, I like Jackie Earl Haley or however you pronounce his last name, but like,
look,
not it. For me.
Just to put the nail in this coffin with the Nightmare on Elm Street, you have the biggest fucking shoes to fill with playing Freddy Krueger. Robert Englund is Freddy, no matter what. It's so hard for me to think about any Nightmare or Nightmare on Elm Street working without. I don't know who could play him. Jackie Earl was all right, but it was like the look just wasn't.
The look, that's it, dude. It's the look that just like completely takes me out of it, and the characters were not good.
The opening was cool though. I like the opening shot. Anyways, man, but yeah, no, there was the boom. Obviously, The Ring, The Grudge, all that. I mean, it was just like such a great fucking time for us growing up with everything. Because I also feel like in a way it opened me up to a lot more films. I mean, especially like when it comes to The Ring and The Grudge, because like that shit got me like really into Asian horror, J horror, things like that. It allowed me to explore these things. But yeah, no, it was just a fucking great time, dude. So you were with Alia. His mom took you to go see this?
Yeah, it was me, Alia, Dan, and a couple of other people. And,
nice.
Because like Alia's place was the place to be on weekends. Like he had all the new gaming consoles. He had all of like the premium, like, cable like subscriptions. So like he had HBO, Showtime, Cinemax. Cool. And his parents like were retired and they were just like, cool with it. They didn't care who came and stayed the weekend. So everyone would either like the group would split up. There'd be like 6 of us staying there. Like half people would be gaming, and then like when they got burnt out, I was like, all right, let's watch some horror flicks.
Yeah.
I was busy skateboarding and shit. Like when they were like heavy gaming, like yeah, I'd play Halo 3 and shit, but like at the time I was like working on kickflips and shit.
Nice. Yeah.
So, but then like
Those are the best times.
once it got late and they got a little burnt out, I was like, yo, let's see what's on fucking Showtime Beyond and like like the upper channels.
Did you have Monsters HD?
I did not, but I've heard Mike talk about from Bad Taste Video fucking talk about how awesome that channel was, and I really wish I had that channel.
Yeah.
But
Brendan
we
had
both
it.
had Chiller,
Yes.
which ended up being shitty, but there was times where they'd play like good movies. Like I remember like the first time I saw The House of the Devil, I was texting you and it came on Chiller.
Oh, okay.
And you were like, yo, that's a good movie. You should definitely watch it. I was like, it just started. And
Cool.
like I was hooked with the opening titles. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, with Monsters HD, dude, Brendan had it. We would go over Brendan's house after school. That's where I had seen My Bloody Valentine for the first time. That's where I saw Dead Alive for the first time.
Hell yeah.
That was like something, that was a movie that we were just like, holy shit. Man, we love that channel. And
Did you watch a lot of El Rey?
No, I didn't have El Rey Network.
Oh, you didn't have El Rey?
No,
El Rey Network was the shit, which you obviously know it's fucking Robert Rodriguez's network. Yo, he used to have sick marathons. So like I remember and we're gonna be done with the sidebar and getting back to Friday the 13th.
Well, I gotta tell my story.
Finish your story.
Yep. Yeah.
But like real quick, just to shed some light on the El Rey Network. The first time I saw Maniac was on that network, and because they would show like after a certain time completely unrated, unedited, and they would have like awesome marathons. Like I remember there was a Puppet Master marathon, there was a fucking Rip Your Heart Out Valentine's Day marathon with Nightmare on Elm Street. They would have the Kai July 4th of July Roareth marathon.
That's
where it was
cool.
like
Kai July. I like
dude,
that.
they would do like 4 days of like fucking Godzilla films.
Ooh, maybe
and,
we
like,
gotta do that, Kai July, brother, right?
Kai July, I am all about it. I am all about it.
Because we have Ninja November.
You know what?
Maybe we'll introduce that. Good
I've been
shit.
wanting a reason to pick up Godzilla vs. Biollante. I have a bootleg Blu-ray copy that's ripped from the Miramax, but I want to get that Criterion release.
All right, so
I feel like
we'll have a little discussion after this.
Yeah,
so I'm glad you brought it up.
But yeah, shout out to El Rey because they had the sickest fucking horror marathons on there for real.
Shout out Robert Rodriguez, the biggest fucking student of the game besides Quentin Tarantino.
Absolutely.
I was just listening to a podcast with him, dude, and it's just like, he is the coolest motherfucker, man. I mean, we talked about him with our Planet Terror, but, I definitely want to talk more about him because I could just gush over him. He's like such a big inspiration to me, because he's just like the one-man band, dude. Like, Anyways,
back to your story.
Back to my story. All right. So I'll tell my story and then we're going to get into this discussion. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, this came out on Brendan's birthday, Friday 13th, 2009. And, I was like, yo, we're going to go fucking see this. I'm like, I'll get the tickets. So I skipped school that day to go to the mall to get the tickets. The fucking problem of it all was I was not 17. I couldn't buy the tickets. You have to be 17 to get into rated R movies. I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do, man? So trying to figure this shit out. And then I'm walking around the mall and a buddy of mine worked at Journeys in the mall. I met him because my first job was at Zoomies in the Palisades Mall.
I remember those days.
Yep. So I met him there. His name is Ron. And Ron was the coolest motherfucker, dude. I looked up to him. He was just the nicest guy, man. And I hope he's doing well. So it turned out that he had the same exact birthday as me. And we kind of sort of looked alike. So I fucking was telling him, I'm like, yo, I'm having an issue. I can't buy these tickets, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, can I use your license to go, try to buy these tickets? And he's like, yeah, sure. So he gives me his license and I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm like, I remember the birthday and I just got to remember the year in case they question me. Kind of look like whatever. Go up, doesn't work. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, I couldn't buy the tickets. So I go back down.
They looked at it and were like, that's not you.
Yeah, they were just like, it's not you. I'm like, fuck, man. Like this is going to be a catastrophe if I don't get these tickets. So everybody ends up showing up. I mean, Brendan probably could have. Actually, you know what it was? It was that you could buy tickets at the age of 17, but I think you had to be over the age of 21 to bring people in. So everybody, I think it was me, Brendan, I'm pretty sure it was Josh. It was probably like somebody else. That was like the go-to movie guys. So we go to the movie theater and we're trying to like figure it out. And all hope is gone. And then I see these 3 people that I know inside by the concession stand and all that. And I'm just like, yo! And I'm like waving to them. And they're like, oh, Nick, what's up? And they were older. I knew them, family, friends, okay?
Yeah.
So I go over to them and I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing? They're like, yo, we're going to see Friday the 13th. And I'm like, oh, like, this is how we're getting in. And I'm like, yo, can you guys please buy us tickets and fucking bring us in? Like, we're trying to see this movie and everything. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So they fucking bought us the tickets. We ended up fucking getting in. We ended up seeing it. We loved it. It was just a great crowd participation, great crowd reaction. I mean, obviously, we had people in there who were being assholes in the back. And as it fucking turns out, later on in life, I had found out exactly who those people were and they became friends of mine. It was my friend Chris and a couple of his other friends because we were talking about this movie and he was like, yeah, we were there opening night at the mall, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, there were some assholes in the back. And he was like, that was us, man. I was like, motherfucker. But that's my story. I feel like it's a great story. It lives with me.
Yeah.
We ended up seeing it. Great time, man. Great
Yeah,
time.
hell yeah, dude. Same, like, I already said my story about seeing it open night and, like, great crowd participation. Like, everyone was so hyped on that opening. Yeah. Because it threw you for a loop. You were like, what the fuck is going on? Like, everyone's just dying left and right. Because, like, this movie combines, like, you get the end of part 1.
Yes.
Then you get a bit of part 2 with Baghead Jason. And then it goes into, like, part 3 where Jason gets the mask. So it's a nice hybrid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's a great hybrid.
And, dare I say, like, I like this Baghead version of Jason more than the original because the way that they made the cloth fit his face, it's just a little more snug, and it reminds me of the killer from The Town That's Dreaded Sundown.
Right. Yeah.
And I dig it. 100%. I dig it.
Yeah, I like the Baghead a lot.
My one complaint though with the look of Jason, I don't like the coat. And that's my same complaint with Freddy vs. Jason. I don't like Jason in a coat. Give him a button-up shirt. Give him a button-up shirt.
I love the look of Jason, Freddy vs. Jason, dude. I love the burlap.
I can't do the coat. Give me a button-up.
Like the part 3, part 4. All right, look, hold on. Before we get any further into this, let me read the write-up. We'll drop the trailer, and then we'll have a discussion. Sound good?
Sounds good, brother.
All right, man. So I'm going to read the back of my Shout Factory. Ready?
Yep.
College kids seeking a weekend of kicks have made a horrible mistake. They've come to a party at Crystal Lake, the deadly domain of killer Jason Voorhees. Terror goes to extremes in this reimagining of the Jason legend for today's horror fans. Enter for the first time the subterranean lair that is Jason's den of fear. See him discover the mask that hides his deformed face. Experience a whole new level of fright and terror.
You do realize this camp was closed down like 20 years ago. But I'm pretty sure the way the story goes, some woman, she went nuts, killed all these counselors, blamed them for her son's drowning. The place is called Camp Crystal Lake. Jason? He came back.
My sister, she came camping up around here with some friends. She's gone missing.
Jane missing. She's dead. People go missing around here. They're gone for good.
No! Here it is. Make yourselves at home. Mi casa es su casa.
You know how many thousands of people disappear every year? But there's no evidence. No car. No witnesses.
All right, you ready?
Ready? Let's do it!
This is a man's sport.
There's a guy up there carrying a dead body.
We'll bring trouble. Just won't be left alone. And so does he.
So does who?
Richie, stop fucking around.
All right, man. So let's jump into this and have the discussion. So, like we were saying before this film is a hybrid. It takes elements from Friday the 13th, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And those elements are the Pamela Voorhees, who is Jason's mother. And one of the things in it is that we have the movie starts out with a cold opening of the final moments from the original Friday the 13th, when we uncover that Pamela Voorhees has been the killer the whole time, and she has a final showdown with one of the camp counselors at the end. So she talks and gives her motives as to, you know, why she's doing what she's doing. The camp counselors should have been watching her son and paying more attention, and Jason allegedly drowned. But we all know Jason never drowned. Jason was in the woods, and he was watching the whole thing happen. So ultimately what ends up happening is Pamela Voorhees gets decapitated. The camp counselor chops her head off with a machete, and, you know, she goes on to live on in part 2. Whole different discussion. So while that's happening, we're having the opening credits and everything like that. Jason's on looking, and then he comes and he, you know, comes to his mother's side, sees her dead body, and he finds a locket, and it's got a picture of him, and it has a picture of her, but a young version of Pamela Voorhees. So he takes the locket, he takes the head, he takes the machete, and then he wanders into the woods.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think that that's a great way to open up the film, to get people familiar, you know, because, you know, like, if you're just going into this film, and I'm sure that there was a lot of people who were going into it who may or may not have been familiar with the Friday the 13th franchise, or, you know, not a lot of people, I would say not a lot of people who are not familiar with the franchise understand the concept from the first, that Pamela Voorhees was the killer. Jason is the selling point always. He doesn't come until part 2. But yeah, man, that's a great opening. You know, we get the flashback scenes, we get the title credits, and then we don't have to waste any more time, you know. But then after that, we shoot forward to present time, and then we meet a bunch of what would you call them? They're not like
friends camping, because like this girl Whitney, she'd been taking care of her mom who's got cancer. The mom says to the boyfriend, "Hey, take her out for a weekend. She really needs it." You know, so she's just kind of taking a little break. And, you know, we've got this ragtag group, you know, your typical, stereotypical, like, camper, like, slasher film. You know, there's the nerd, there's, like, the cool guy,
yeah,
the hot girl.
Hot girlfriend, and then,
you know, the wholesome woman that is Whitney and her boyfriend.
Right.
And, you know, they're, like, the cool guy and the, like, the nerdy guy, you know, they're out searching for this weed crops. And, like, you know,
unbeknownst to, like, everybody else, you know. So and then Wade, you know, his name is Wade. The nerd guy's name is Wade. The cool guy's name is Richie. Whitney, Mike, I think is his name, is her boyfriend, and I think Amanda might be the hot chick in this.
Yeah. Does she not remind you of Shannon Doherty? Not Shannon. What's her name from American Pie?
Shannon Elizabeth.
Shannon Elizabeth. Yeah. In certain lightings, she looks a little bit in the face like Shannon Elizabeth. A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But Yeah, so, and you think like these are our main characters at first, but
No,
the
it's
way
it's a bit of a fake out.
yeah, major swerve in the best
which,
way.
Yeah, and I like that. I don't really know like where the story could have went, had we focused on them the whole time, because ultimately what ends up happening is every single one of them fall victim to Jason.
Yeah, because where they're camping is right by Camp Crystal Lake. Because the dude Wade, he gives, and we get this a lot in the early Friday the 13th, where someone around the campfire is giving the backstory and legend of Jason. So Whitney and her boyfriend end up discovering the cabin, and when they go in there, they see like a bed that says Jason on it, and like they find the locket with Jason's mom's young picture when she was younger, and it looks like Whitney.
Yeah.
And Whitney's boyfriend points that out, and also they find the head and the mantle shrine, if you will, with all the candles, just like in part 2. And I think if you look in the background, I think there's a wheelchair.
Yes.
Which for one of the victims in part 2, who gets the cleaver to the face.
Great kill.
Great kill. Yep. Which we see that kill in fucking Twitch of the Death Nerve.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, famously
that movie,
ripped off of that movie entirely.
Yep.
At this point, though, man, we have a series of pretty good kills.
Oh, great kills.
So, Whitney and her boyfriend venture off by themselves. They go and explore, Camp Crystal Lake. They don't know it's Camp Crystal Lake. Wade, Amanda, and Richie are back at the campfire. And Wade is like, he's got a GPS and they're trying to find this weed. And he's like, fuck, man, like, I'm dumb. Like, this just didn't sync up, whatever. And Richie's like, dude, you gotta fucking go. Because
I'm about to get laid right now.
He's gonna get laid. So yeah. Wade's like, all right, dude, peace. So Wade goes into the woods. Amanda and Richie are fucking in the tent. And Wade finds the weed. So, dude, a lot of fucking weed, man. I'm surprised like they didn't smell it from where they are, dude. Yeah. So he's smelling the weed. He's like, I love you. I love you. I love you. And he finds a little plant and he's like, and I even love you. And then he freezes and then it's fucking Jason, the baghead Jason. So Wade runs off. Jason comes out, slashes him. And then this is when we bounce back to Whitney and Mike in the house, find the head, and when he drops it, door slams. Fucking Jason's now back at the house, and then he starts stabbing through the floorboards, and
Which
cuts.
Is fucked, man.
Yeah,
that's like.
And then he pulls Mike into like this trap door. Whitney runs away. She runs back to the camp. Richie ends up finding Wade in the fucking woods dead, because they hear a noise in the woods and they stop what they're doing. Amanda stays back, and then finds Wade's dead body, runs back, gets caught in a bear trap. Amanda gets ripped out of the fucking tent, put in the sleeping bag, and then hung over the fire and suffocates and dies.
Is a fucking horrible way to go, because we get a callback kill because, like, obviously Friday the 13th part 7, with the sleeping bag kill against the tree, which was iconic. They were like, let's do that, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And what a fucking way to go.
Right.
Horrible death.
It's worth mentioning there's 2 versions of this film. There's the killer cut, which is the extended version, and then there's a theatrical cut. So, a couple key differences in this. Longer sex scene in the tent. A little bit more nudity. And the scene with Amanda dying, we see a lot more of her screaming and choking on the flames and stuff in the fire, and whatever. And Richie is watching this whole thing going on. He's trapped. He sees his girlfriend dying. That's horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Whitney ends up coming back, and she finds Richie screaming in pain, everything, dead body, and she's trying to help Richie out. And in the distance, we see Jason.
And he's charging, dude. Fucking splits fucking Richie right in the face with the fucking machete. Yep. And it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Yep. Great kill. And Whitney's trying to run away from him. Jason winds up, goes to fucking kill her. Boom. Cut. Now we're like 5 or 6 weeks later.
Hold on. Cut. Title drop.
Title drop.
Crowd's cheering.
Right. very good opening.
Balls to the wall, man.
Yeah, intense. I really liked it. Set the tone for the fucking film. Yeah, great, man. I fucking enjoyed it. We got some cool callback kills, like you said, to what was it, part 7?
Yeah.
And the machete to the face, like in part 2.
Yep.
So yeah, and then I mean also like the Pamela head, whatnot. The locket.
I think Pamela's sweater can be seen too on one of the beds.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So this is where we now we meet our actual main players, or our actual main characters. We have Trent,
Asshole.
who is the asshole. We have Jenna, who's his girlfriend. Very, very sweet, cute, wholesome. We have the girl Bree. We have Chewie, who is our Asian character. He's fucking great. I love him. We have Lawrence, who is like the self-aware, like I would say token black character. Like he's self-aware.
Very self-aware.
Yeah, he making jokes about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think was great. We have Donnie, who's like the Abercrombie pretty boy. Chelsea, who's Willa Ford in this. I think she's a singer. I remember her back in the day. And then did I mention Clay? Jared Padalecki.
Yeah.
We don't meet him initially. We meet our main players that are
at the gas station. We meet Clay because again, you'd mentioned it's 6 weeks now. Whitney's been missing. We see like Clay putting out these missing flyers, and he even has like an encounter with the sheriff where the sheriff like,
Brack,
yeah, he's like, we've looked. I sent two 10-year veterans on this case, and I'm sorry, she could have ran off with a boyfriend. And he's like, listen, that's not her. Like, she took care of my sick mother who died of cancer and didn't show up to the funeral. That's not my sister. Like, something's up. So, he has an encounter with the rest of these college kids at the gas station, and Trent's being an asshole because he's holding up the line. And Jenna kind of like, she feels sorry for him.
Yeah.
And then they go off, because Trent's dad's got this beautiful fucking cabin house, and Clay's just out asking locals and shit. And what's really cool, when Trent's like, before like even like the funny redneck guy who's like, he's harvesting the weed now because he's discovered it, which we'll get to him.
Donnie is his name. I like him.
So okay, so then if that's Donnie, then who's the asshole in Abercrombie and Finch guy?
Nolan, my bad.
Nolan,
his name's Nolan. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, besides Donnie, at one point Clay goes to knock on this woman's door, and she like answers it with this fucking German Shepherd who's like fucking, you can tell like
scare.
Locals don't want to be fucking bothered, and I love
they
this
even say
part.
It too.
I love this part, dude, because it's just like the locals know that Jason is out there, and like he just anyone that steps on his property, because he's just like. He's like, my sister's missing. And she's like, oh, she ain't missing. She's dead. People around here that go missing, they're dead because they don't know where to walk. They intrude on his property. He just wants to be left alone. I love that. I love that the deep locals acknowledge that Jason is out there, a hermit of the woods, living off of like whatever, not wanting to be bothered. And that's where, to me, you can tell that this is the same director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 03, because like even the locals there, like kind of know, like, oh, Thomas is a good guy.
Yeah, he's a sweet boy.
Yeah, Yeah, I love that scene.
Yeah, and even this lady, kind of has a bit of a resemblance to,
the mom or whatever of the family in Texas Chainsaw 03.
And another thing I want to just point out is this bit of camera work that happens at the gas station when they get in, and then the camera like sweeps through the front all the way to the back and they pull away. That is like almost exactly the same shot as when the girl shoots herself in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Yes.
And it goes through the back of her head.
Yep.
Remember? Through the hole.
Yes, of course.
So I also just want to say, Marcus Nispel directed this. We mentioned it already, directed the 2003 remake, but the cinematographer's name is Daniel Pearl. Daniel Pearl did the cinematography on this film. He did the cinematography on the 2003 remake and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Really?
Yes.
Oh shit.
So,
That's awesome.
Yep. Very
Hell
cool.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I fucking dig that.
Because everyone talks about, when you're talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the shot of the one girl, like, from the bench or whatever.
Love it. One of the best shots.
Walking up to the house. Yeah, it's iconic. So that's
great,
cool.
Great eye for tracking shots. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, I went off on that tangent. My bad.
Brother, it's cool. Yeah, so, everyone's at the cabin. They're fucking partying. Chewie brings out the bong Lucille that him and Lawrence are fucking toking. And, everyone's just like, whether they're playing like beer pong, they're just fucking partying up. We know how these things happen in Friday the 13th. They give you the tropes. You got the party cabin, Trent just like, yo, don't wreck the place. Like,
being very fucking annoying, very fucking uptight, being a big old dickhead. He's definitely like the most unlikable character
100%
in this, and he plays it well.
Yeah,
very well.
Yeah, he's like more like a Chad than a Trent, because like Trent sounds like a cool guy, but like he's like acting like a major Chad, and everyone's just kind of like doing their thing. Like he's kind of like to what's her face, Jenna. Like, well, what do you want to do? And she wants to go on a hike. She wants to soak it in, but like. What is it?
I would love to live at this place, by the way, man.
It's a nice fucking place.
It's got like it's not a lake in the back, but it's like it definitely runs into the lake. It's like, and the house is so nice, man. It kind of reminds me of the house in Jason Goes to Hell.
I could see the similarities there. Yep. Yeah. The location for sure. And then we get our like two characters of what's the singer's name in the Abercrombie Finch asshole?
So, Willa Ford and Nolan.
Yeah, so they go off because Trent's got a boat, and he's like, here, take my car, but he's like, don't touch my boat. And of course, that idiot's fucking like, I'm going to touch the boat.
Yep.
And they go on it, and they're like, she's like, is it wakeboarding or waveboarding?
Wakeboarding.
Wakeboarding. Okay, yep. She's doing wakeboarding, topless. I guess, the TNA thing with Friday the 13th. They were like, here's some more TNA.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to lie, though. Another complaint besides Jason's coat. The soundtrack to this movie is ass.
You don't like
it.
Steve Jablonski?
No,
not the score, but the music that they use.
The music that they use. And that's like, I don't really like, I see why they said it in modern times for 2009, but I don't like it because those scenes, and Kristen made a mention of this last night. She was like, if I walked in right now and just saw this scene, I would have never known you were watching a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Based off of the music, the way it's going on, it's just like, I don't know, it takes me out of it at times.
I'm a tough crowd when it comes to that as well, man. Like, you got to pick like the proper music.
Like this needed a bit more of like the Harry Manfredini like cues in there, just a little bit. I don't like these needle drops. The music's ass, but so like. What is this? I always forget this guy's name that's driving the boat.
Nolan.
Yeah. So, he's like fucking driving the boat. And it kind of reminds me of Sleepaway Camp, because there's also someone wakeboarding.
Well, at the beginning of Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah. And same thing, like when she like bails, right? And like he's still driving the boat. And now he gets shot through the head with an arrow from Jason. And then like propels towards her.
When the boat hits her, she's all fucking disoriented.
She would have died.
100%.
From that impact, that would have snapped her neck.
Well, she also definitely had more than enough time to swim out of the way.
Yeah. Because that's how the dad and the sister die in Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
She would have totally died.
Yeah.
But
100%.
I get, they keep her alive for a cool kill, which we'll get to. So, yeah. Asshole fucking Abercrombie and Finch dude gets taken out with an arrow. I wish he, like, the whole...
I wish we would have saw the boat crash.
Yeah, and not into her, because, again, she would have died upon that impact. And she could have still swam under the dock, because that's what she ends up doing, because she's all, like, bleeding out her head. But she sees that Jason's standing there with the bow and arrow, and she's, like, trying to hide. And that's when, Jason, another great kill though, is Jason sticks her with the machete through the board cracks on the dock and like pulls her up, which it looks great. It's just, I just wish like maybe she would have swam up to the boat, like, or if it stopped, right? Or some shit. And she swam up and she saw him dead. Kind of like in Friday Part 4 when Paul swims up to Sam on the raft and Sam's dead. Something like that. And then she swims and hides under the dock. Like she sees him dead on the boat. Then she sees Jason. Then she like goes under, hides, resurfaces under the dock. And then we get that kill. I just would have done that a little different.
Yeah, that could have been cool, but I think that would have just like took too much time, and it kind of like maybe.
So you're the filmmaker, so I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, maybe it kind of would have like, it kind of would have probably dulled down the intensity of that scene in a way, Oh, it's raining here now.
Oh,
just like by you.
Storm moved down towards you.
Yeah, it came down here. I just heard some thunder. So I see what you're saying. Maybe for like an extended cut, like that could have been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she's got a great kill, and
Great
it's funny
kill.
too, because when he stabs her in the head, she like pops up, and you just
Yeah.
like see just like the boobs up.
Yep.
And then she, yeah.
More TNA. Yep.
More TNA, man. Gratuitous nudity.
It's a Friday the 13th movie. They're like, this is what
sure.
This is what they're known for. They're very self-aware with this one. And so we go back to the cabin and Clay knocks on the door because he's handing out flyers. Him and Jenna, she's like, you want to come in and shit? Like, I'm really sorry. And he's giving her a bit of backstory and shit. And he comes in and then Trent's like, what the fuck are you doing in here?
Yeah.
Being super dick. And he's like, all right, I'm not supposed to be here. But like Bree, she's like fucking instigating. She's like, you want a beer, new guy? And he's like, oh, fuck no, keep it moving. And Jenna just goes off with him. She's like, you want some company? He's like, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
just be
you don't
a little
even
bit
know
more
this guy.
cautious. Yeah. But she's like kind of like feeling him. Jared Padalecki's, like a handsome
he's the
dude,
heartthrob. He's the star of the movie.
And he was fucking huge at that time.
Because like did Supernatural
and
it already started.
He was filming Supernatural during this. I think like they were actually like on a break, Supernatural.
Okay.
So it was like the height of his career. So like
so while they were on break, he was doing that, and his co-star was doing My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for them, man.
Yeah,
trying
hell
to break
yeah.
into the horror industry.
I dig it.
So just to go back real quick, we had mentioned briefly Donnie, the hillbilly,
I was gonna get to him
and all that, and Clay has an interaction with him, because he's walking around everything, handing out flyers, all this shit, but Clay or Donnie, he finds all this weed and, he's sitting down in the barn and he's being a fucking creep, licking this magazine with this naked girl, all this stuff. And he hears a noise up in the attic of the barn. He goes up. So somebody's been stealing kerosene from his boss. So he goes up and, he pulls this fucking, he thinks he sees somebody. He pulls this sheet off and then we see this mannequin. And this mannequin is Gina, who actually turns out to be his lover.
Yeah.
Who took his
Remember
virginity.
That night you took my virginity, Gina?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking pound you so hard.
Yeah.
Yo,
you do it
fucking
good.
man. Yo, I'm fucking dying, man. With the fucking scene in his dialogue, he's I'm gonna fucking pound you so hard, Gina.
I
You're
like
so
him.
nice and
He's
tight."
funny, man.
Oh, you know what he reminds me of? Just less annoying and more funny. The fucking stupid redneck son from Friday the 13th Part 5. Who's on the motorbike, who gets his head taken off with the cleaver.
And his mom's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you see him just like riding the bike around the house.
She's trying to make the stew. Yeah.
Good scene.
That's what like he reminds me of for sure. Just like more funny than annoying, even though he's like a gross creep too.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, man. And like, there's like an alternative scene where, so this is where Jason gets the mask because he, after like talking with his fucking love mannequin, Gina, he turns around and Jason's behind him, and fucking Jason like grabs him, and he tears at the bag sack shit and rips it, and we get to see a little glimpse of Jason's face. And he's like, "Oh fuck, man, that ain't right. That ain't right." And he kills him, and then when he does, like Jason picks up the burlap sack and realizes he can't wear it, But then he pulls the sheet and we see the hockey mask and you hear the like just ever so faintly.
And then it's like the rebirth of the icon.
It's just like,
and the
here we
mask
go.
now, you know?
He puts on the mask. He looks at himself in the mirror and you're like, all right, it's go time.
Do you like the hockey mask in this?
Yes, I do like
think
the
it's
hockey
great.
mask. I don't like that we don't get enough of the Jason noises though. Like we get that little tease
Yeah.
at there and towards the end.
Right.
But you know, there's also again the alternative version where Donnie hears someone up there and Jason comes down with the kerosene and he's got like, you know, the burlap sack and Donnie's smoking a joint while wearing the hockey mask. Like he finds it first.
Yeah.
And then Jason like grabs him, beheads him, and then like he's holding Donnie's head with the hockey mask and takes. But they said like they wanted a bit more of a build up, whereas like, that was.
Well,
I like both scenes.
I would have liked a mix of both of them.
Yeah.
So I think that it would have been better had Donnie found the mask upstairs and then put it on and then turned around, Jason beheads him, because I don't like that Jason just slashes his throat.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. But I think had he found the mask upstairs, Jason, you know, decapitated him with the machete, held his head, took the mask off, that would have been a better scene.
Yeah. Like maybe he was like, he finds the mask with Gina's mannequin.
Yeah.
And starts being silly with it or something. And then
Or maybe the mask was on Gina or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So Gina,
Yeah.
we're talking about
Gina.
this
I
fucking
know.
mannequin.
like she's a fucking character. It's great. It's just such a funny scene, man. But
yeah, it is. But this is how Jason gets his mask. And I mean, it is what it is. It's an all right scene. It could have been better.
But I do like the mask. I like that he's got a bit of the long hair like in part 2. You know, and we get a little teases of his face. A little bit, you know?
I don't think we ever actually see.
No, you just get teases. Only in the behind the scenes extras do you actually get to see the face, and you get to see like the kid version of Jason like full on in like the extras, and I was like, oh shit. But you could tell it's a little person, not really a kid playing young Jason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's definitely a little person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he's not like the Ari Lehman, you know, first Jason, you know, with the hydrophalic whatever head and being bald and all that.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, kind of though. He does have a bit of a, you know,
he's got a deformed eyes,
yeah.
head's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, iconic Jason is here. Now we're just really moving. Like it's fucking all gas, no brakes at this point. And, you know, you got Clay and you got Jenna exploring. They find Camp Crystal Lake and they're exploring.
Looking through all the cabins and stuff, you know, because this might be an area where, you know, Whitney might be, you know, maybe she's dead in one of the cabins, who knows, whatever. And then while they're, you know, looking through all this shit, Jenna sees somebody in the distance and it's Jason and he's holding a dead body. So I didn't know at first, like, who the fucking dead body was because it was decapitated. So it's like a little bit of a continuity thing now because, you know, he wasn't decapitated because they never used that scene because it's Donnie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it was the flannel that gave it away for me.
Yeah.
So Jason finds Clay's bag and he knows like somebody's around. So he starts going crazy, you know, throwing canoes around, all this stuff, turns like these lights on, like these spotlights in the camp and everything. And they end up running back to Trent's house to like warn everybody, you know, what's going on.
Jenna trips over a booby trap too that so like Jason has this tunnel system, this underground tunnel system, and we find out that Whitney is alive. He's got her chained up. You know, he's like sharpening his machete, which I do like that scene where he's just like with the stone fucking thing and he's just
the tunnels and the booby traps is something totally new for the Friday the 13th movies.
Yes, in a sense. And I've heard plenty of people complain about, well, Jason's too smart. Like he wouldn't set up booby traps.
Well, he's a survivalist in this.
Exactly. Like if you think
it's grounded in reality, this film.
Yeah,
You know,
and
Jason's
also,
not supernatural. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this also gives an explanation as to how a human version survivalist Jason gets around so fast. You know, because in all the other Friday the 13th films, like, Jason's just around. We don't know, like, people are running away from him, and then he's there to, you know, cut him off, whatnot. And, you know, like, the supernatural version of him, like, after Jason lives, like, you're kind of just like, all right, like, it is what it is. Like, you never question it. But I do like this aspect of it.
well, my argument there is why I like it, because if you think about Friday the 13th part 2, 3, and 4, he's human. How the fuck do you think he survived all these years?
Right.
He had to learn to survive off the woods and fucking, you know, hunt and shit. So it's just like, it makes sense that he knows how to set traps and shit. And also, like, you know, they talk about in the extras, like, you know, Jason's building is pretty, you know, he's pretty muscular, he's pretty leaned out, which makes sense because if you're like fucking surviving off the woods, you know, like you're always on the run and shit, like, yeah, you're gonna be in good shape. And that's why I love.
He's
by
big,
the way,
he's tall.
I love
lean.
Derek Mears as
Derek
Jason.
Mears, great Jason. Dude.
Great Jason.
And he was so hyped to play this fucking part too. Because, like, in the special features, you hear him, like, talking about, like, the scene that he's about to do. And you see him, he's like, fuck, man. He's like, I'm fucking excited, you know? So, like, for somebody to, like, be, like, that into the role, man, you know? And I mean, dude, like, Jason is just, like, so iconic. But Derek Mears did a great job.
Great job.
Love the look of him, the physique. I know that you have your issue with just, like, the outfit.
Just the coat.
Overall.
Just the coat, yeah.
I don't think a button-up would have worked. I like the whole look of Jason. And I mean, I also think there's like, he's got, like, kind of like a tool belt in a sense too. I think that like a strap on his leg that has for the machete and all that.
Which Jason in part 6 had a tool belt.
Right. So it was like
Yeah.
similar to that. But the coat kind of like covers it. But
Yeah.
I have dived into this version of Jason, you know, from the collecting world and things like that, and people who I know who cosplay the character and go, like, really in depth with it, you know. So and I'll be honest with you, man, I used to own, and you've seen them, I'm not gonna show them, you know, for obvious reasons, you know. People get weird in the collecting community, but I had this bust of unmasked Jason from this version that derived from the actual head cast of Derek Mears with all the prosthetics of Jason.
I remember it.
So it was a fucking perfect version of him. And I also owned a hockey mask that came from the screen used mold. And they were like two of my most prized possessions. Unfortunately, had to get rid of them. And I just want to say also, one of my buddies owns the arrow, the screen-used arrow that went through Nolan's head, and the handle from the fire poker that kills somebody in the end.
Yeah,
so
that's sick.
Yeah.
So, you know, back to, you know, like Clay and Jenna and Whitney here, because again, Whitney is down in the tunnel system. Jason's kept her alive. She's got the locket. He sees the resemblance of his mom. That's why he's kept her alive. I don't like the Jason tantrum though. Like, cause after he's sharpening his machete,
he has like the little, he has like,
he has a flashback,
yeah,
of like his mom being beheaded, and then throws like a tantrum, and then goes up to Whitney and like kind of grabs her, and then like he sees the locket. She's like, "It's okay, Jason," and he like kind of just chills,
right,
and goes off. I could have done without the Jason tantrum, truthfully, but I do like seeing him sharpening up the machete, and like there's just like this look in his eye. It's just like so concentrated. I'm like, yeah, like this is cool.
Do you feel like this version of Jason and everything with the tunnel system and kind of like how, you know, where we follow with him sometimes, do you feel like this humanizes him too much and kind of like takes you out?
You know, I could see a bit of that argument there. It doesn't really take me out. I'll tell you what takes me out, as I mentioned before, like the wakeboarding scene, and a lot of like our main characters at the cabin. And whenever we get like this 2009 bullshit music for like even when they all enter the cabin and like the hip hop like R&B shit hits too from like the mid 2000s, I'm like, nah, dude, that takes me out.
Well, you're also very tough when it comes to music, so
yeah.
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 I can't share a fucking thing with you because I always get back. You're like ass, you know. So just like, yeah. So like I kind of like sort of in a way I feel like when we're with him too much and we see too much of him and we get too many answers, it kind of makes him a little bit less scary.
Okay.
You know,
and you know what, I see that argument too. I do, because like the less you know is like more,
right.
You know, the ambiguity.
You have the theater of the mind in a sense, you know, like
that's what made like Michael so scary, is like when we didn't have like a backstory and shit, you know.
That's why the beginning of Rob Zombies is a little bit less effective. And plus, like, we also do have Michael Myers speak, you know? So sometimes it doesn't work. And for me, I'm not talking about Halloween, I'm talking about Jason. I'm kind of on the fence about, you know.
I could see both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's all right. It's fine, you know.
But I do like the explanation, the whole tunnel system thing. Like, that's kind of cool. You know, and Wade actually does make a mention of it in the beginning because they're fucking, criticizing his GPS system. And he's like, oh, the weed should be here. And he's like, well, you know, they're not always accurate. You know, like there's a mine around here, too, that we didn't see. So, like, that's how Jason's getting around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you got the bells that are alerting him and things like that, too.
Yeah, exactly. Which Whitney starts screaming because she realizes someone else is like out there, and like
Jason's not going to trip his own movie trap.
No, and it's great because she's screaming and Clay is right above her, just like on the surface level, and can't hear a thing. And that's like, that takes me back to the Funhouse when she's in the tunnel and she sees her parents and the big wind machines go and she can't hear. Like her parents can't hear her. She's screaming like that. Talk about like you're so close to being saved, but like you can't. Like that is such a fuck situation.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like they're right there, you know, and so that makes it tough. But you know, it just adds more to the story.
Oh, for sure,
you know?
It adds more anxiety and shit. But yeah, so Jenna and Clay, they're like, yo, we got to get the fuck back to the cabin, warn everyone, and that's essentially what they do. Chewie, he goes into the work shed because he broke one of fucking Trent's heirloom chairs, and he's like,
because they're fucking around in there. Yeah, break some shit. Trent gets fucking pissed off.
Yeah, so he's in there, he's fucking around, sipping on some like very expensive old booze and wines and shit. And then he finds a hockey stick and then like he fucking shatters a lamp. And then right behind him appears Jason, and he's like, "Oh, you want this? It completes your outfit."
Yeah.
And then we got a great kill, probably up there in one of my favorites for some reason, just because in the extended killer cut,
very violent,
very violent,
bloody.
Like Chewie grabs a screwdriver to try to stab Jason, but Jason is overpowers him effortlessly and like drives the screwdriver into like under his jaw almost and throat, and like it's just, they focus on it so much in the killer cut. And it's great. It looks so painful.
Yeah, no, it does. It's intense. And yeah, so Chewie gets taken out, and Trent and Bree are in the house, and they're fucking.
Yeah.
You know, he's cheating on Jenna. He's being
he's like, fuck it.
scumbag.
She's out with Clay, so he's like, fuck it, you know, like she's like, let's go finish off this bottle. And he says some real cringy lines like, your tits are stupendous.
Yeah, perfect nipple placement.
Yeah, it's like,
and she's like recording it too.
Yeah.
And, you know, and and you know, Jason lurks up after killing Chewie, and he's like looking in, and you know, man, premarital sex in these Friday the 13th films is a no-no.
Yeah. So Jason gets triggered by that because he's like, that's what caused me to drown. So I see that shit.
He didn't even drown.
Yeah, he didn't. But, you know, he's like, well, you know, you see that shit. He sees that shit, and he's just immediately triggered. And, you know, also Whitney gets out because Jason drops Clay's bag down there. and she finds the old GPS, and she like takes it apart and grabs something to like undo her shackles. And she runs up and she's about to like bang on the window where Trent and Bree are fucking. And Jason just comes up behind her and like quiets her and like
brings her
hey,
right
just,
fucking
like,
back.
Right back. Then comes back to the house. And that's where also like, you know, Clay and Jenna are, you know, they bust through because Lawrence is about to fucking crank one to a fucking clothing magazine.
Yeah.
It's so
this woman's
silly.
like bundled up too. He's like,
you're gonna have to do.
I'm about to ruin your day.
Yeah, it's just like what the fuck. Some of these lines, dude, are just so cringe. There's a lot of bad dialogue in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but there is a lot of shitty dialogue.
Yeah.
I don't like any of these characters besides Clay. I'll be straight up with. Besides Clay and Whitney, I can't stand any of
You
these
don't even
characters.
like Chewie?
I don't even like Chewie. I
Why?
think he's so obnoxious.
I guess. I like Chewie. I
I-
like
it's
Trent.
so-
I like Trent because he serves his purpose. You know, you never really get to know Nolan or Jenna.
Yeah, I'm
you know,
happy they
not,
died
not too long.
because they have no personality.
Yeah.
At least, like, I'll say this. At least, like, Chewie, Lawrence, and Trent have personality. And then we know Bree is for eye candy for
Right.
that kind of shit. Because in these slasher films, you always have to have the super hot girl. But, yeah, so, you know, you got Clay and Jenna trying to warn everyone. She's banging on the door where Trent's, like, fucking getting it on. He's like, yo, fuck off. Like, let me finish. So they're like finishing. And we get, like, a really cool shot of Jason standing on the rooftop. Fucking great shot, man.
And then he like turns away.
So
and then
good.
the camera like comes down. Yeah, that's a great shot. And then like during all of this, Lawrence is like he's like, oh, Chewie's my buddy. You know, he fucking went over to the shed. Like, I gotta go fucking save him. And they're like, nah, man, like you shouldn't fucking go out there. Like it's dangerous, whatnot. And he's like, nah, you're not gonna catch me. Goes in there and he ends up finding fucking Chewie's dead body. I like this reveal, you know, like he's looking in the freezer, you know, and you think that his dead body's gonna be in there, and then Chewie like drops down and he's dead, and then Jason's in there and he like goes to try to slash him and all this shit. This dude's quick, ends up getting away, but as he's fucking running back to the house, Jason pulls an axe that's in a stump. And I do like this because he just takes the axe and he fucking just swings it and you know, it goes
Catches him in the back.
through his back, yeah.
And then later, like, pushes him down to the whole axe comes through his torso. Also, like, it's funny, too, because Lawrence grabs, like, this big-ass cooking wok as, like, a shield. He's got the fire poker. Like, he's some fucking Spartan soldier out there and shit. You know, thinking on his feet. Got to give the man credit, you know. But, yeah, it's great, too, because, like, before Jason even pushes, like, the other part of the axe, because it's a double-sided axe that Jason throws at Lawrence, he's baiting them. And Clay is like, don't go out there.
Yeah,
Like,
he's using him as bait, your friend,
Yeah.
because you hear him screaming in pain.
Mhm.
And then Jason just like takes him out, like you said, like
he's like,
pushes
fuck
him
it. All
down
right, they're
into
not
it,
coming
yeah,
out, so
whatever,
I'm coming in.
no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Because, like, fuck it. And then, like, Bree, she goes upstairs. And, you know, Jason's back on the ceiling. Or not the ceiling, the roof. And he sneaks in through the bathroom window, I think it is. And he, like, mounts her on, like, these antlers, kind of like in Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Do you like this kill?
It's all right.
Yeah, I don't love
It's
it
alright.
too much.
It's not definitely not one of the better ones. It's whatever. I do like when he's like behind her and silences her. There's like another shot of him like in the mirror
You want to know where this is a missed opportunity?
to put her face through the miror.
No, that
Like in
could have been
part
cool.
6?
A head squeeze.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and like part 3. Yep.
Good
With the
fucking
eyeball
head
popping
squeeze.
out.
We
Well,
didn't
hold on.
get a-
Wait, where is it?
We didn't get a Yeah, there you go. We didn't get a fucking head squeeze in this.
No, we didn't.
And that bothers me because I really love that fucking that kill.
Yeah.
So instead of throwing her on the fucking antlers, you know, because he did grab her by the head, could have just.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. That would have been a good one for sure.
But putting her head through the fucking thing would have been cool too. Are you talking about like in the RV?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like, what are you doing back there? Taking a dump?
that's a great
Fucking
kill.
the dude court
Yeah,
with the fucking teenage Frankenstein by fucking Alice Cooper. Hell yeah, man.
one of my favorite scenes, man.
Yeah, yeah, great
Um,
scene.
So yeah, antler kill kind of cool. Bit of a missed opportunity in my opinion for a good old fucking head squeeze. And then Trent ends up getting a fucking gun, because they know that like shit's hitting the fan now. Trent ends up getting the gun. He's a little bit trigger happy. He ends up seeing like they're like searching the house, all of them, see like what's going on, and he sees like these boots in the closet, and he starts firing off, and turns out it's just like a jacket and boots in the closet. And then Jenna or Bree rather on the antlers ends up like falling down. They think somebody's in the bathroom. Trent shoots the fucking door and then sees she's dead. All this craziness ended up happening now. And then the sheriff shows up.
Yeah, because one of them is able to get like signal or something. They call the cops. And the sheriff shows up. He's knocking at the door. They're about to open it, and the fucking fire poker goes right through the door, right through the sheriff's head.
And then Trent says, fuck this guy to Jenna. Let's get out of here. He tries to take the cop car. Jason throws Bree's dead body from the fucking house onto the car, which
is a callback. Cool. It's a callback to part 4 when Jason comes through the window and throws the one twin that had sex with Crispin Glover from the bedroom window, and she lands on top of the car. Like that's like a throwback right there.
Yeah, good.
And it's funny too because Trent just does this like high pitched scream.
I loved it. I love that. I love that. Screams like a fucking like a little girl, man.
Yep, it's
so
funny
good
as shit.
So then he books it, and he books it, goes his own way. Jenna. Clay
and Jenna, they go their own way.
They end up going their own way. I like the Trent kill,
Good kill. A little weird though with Trent, he ends up on the road and like some truck like swerves him but stops, and he's just sitting there and idle. And like
Donnie's boss, that's Donnie's boss.
Oh, that's that who that is?
Talking about.
Yeah, who just
because
like waves.
You do see the truck. Oh, and he also looks like the Uncle Monty character in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He does. He does.
I mean, I thought, I was like, oh, maybe that's they're tying this in or everything, but I'm like, oh, this movie takes place in Jersey, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Monty also had a fucking tow truck, so maybe like loosely,
Well, also though too, I can see the connections in a sense, but also the timing, TCM, it takes place when it's supposed to take place, whereas this takes place in modern 2009.
Just a little observation.
Yeah, whatever. No, definitely some similarities in the characters for sure. But I think it's weird though. You just see the hand like, come here.
But then he like Jason would have called out and been like, "Yo, like, you good, man?" Like whatever. So yeah, Jason slashes him, right?
Yeah, he like stabs him and lifts him up with the fucking machete, but then throws him on the back spike of the tow truck or whatever. And then the guy just drives off with it with fucking Trent's body. It's
Trent's kill's good.
It is a good kill. And then we're just left with like Jenna and Clay, and that's where they discover the underground tunnel system. And Clay is united with his sister, and Jason makes his way down there, and Clay's trying to get Whitney like free, and Jason's coming, and Jenna's like, hurry up, like he's coming. I see him coming down the hallway. And finally he gets her free by breaking the chains, and they're trying to escape, and they find like this like hatch door thing, but they can't get through it. But then they like move something and find a tunnel. And this scene is great because we get another good swerve here, because you think that like Jenna's gonna be a final girl. So like first you got Whitney goes, then Clay goes, and then they're about to pull Jenna, and whoosh, the machete right through.
We got the final girl fake out, as I consider it. Yeah,
love it.
It was pretty shocking though, because I definitely thought that she was gonna survive.
It was great. Yeah, no, the first time I saw it, I was like, what?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Think that was effective, or you think it was?
Yeah, 100%.
I agree.
Yeah.
Setting her up
definitely.
the whole time,
Yep.
So good call on that.
For sure. So yeah, now it's just Clay and Whitney, and they make it back to the barn where the old man's property is with the wood chipper. And they have a final confrontation with Jason, and there's another great callback scene because Jason pops through the window just like in part 2 when he grabs, I think her name was Jeannie, the final girl in part 2. Remember when he comes through the window and grabs her?
Yeah.
He does the same in the same way with Clay.
He also does it in part 4
Yes.
with the window.
Yeah.
So that's a great callback to, a very shocking, effective moment in those Friday the 13th films. Love that.
Yeah. So they have like a confrontation and like, what is it? The wood splitter chipper, whatever. No, the wood chipper machine. It gets turned on and like, fucking Jason's about to throw Clay in there and Clay's like fighting for his life. And that's when Whitney like calls out to Jason and she's holding the locket and it gets Jason to walk towards her as a distraction. Clay grabs the bear trap and throws it on the back of Jason and like winds up the chain.
And then they throw it in the wood chipper and then he's like being hung.
Which another callback to
Part
Friday
3.
the 13th part 3 when Jason gets hung in the barn. But he's not dead, because like he grabs Clay again, but then like Whitney grabs the machete, stabs Jason, and they both like push him through. And she says a line that I don't think is that good, and it's like, "Say hi to mommy in hell."
Yeah, you kind of always need like a final fucking thing.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms kind of thing.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
Do your thing, cuz, which is like the worst,
line ever in the history of horror.
I don't like how Jason is killed in this. I don't like this ending, to be honest with you, and I don't like the deleted scene of how he dies either.
Yeah, because it's just a broken neck, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this one, they push him in a bit further, and his head gets a little ground up.
But it's like it doesn't do anything for me. Like, I'll be honest with you. I would have been all right with just Jason being hung.
Okay.
Like, I kind of thought that that's where it was going, because in part 3, he's hung, and then we end up getting the axe in the head, and then that's how Jason dies.
Yeah.
So maybe they could have did that, where maybe like he's hanging and then Jenna maybe like stabs him while he's, stabs through him while he's, being hung or whatever, and kind of just like blend the two. But yeah, I didn't feel like the ending on either one of them were super effective for me.
Okay. No, I kind of see your point on that too. And like after that, we get like Whitney and Clay on the dock, and like there's Jason's body, and they push his body in, and you get a little teaser of like Jason's face a bit more as he's floating down, and then Clay throws the mask in, and she throws the locket in, and you see the mask sinking down to the bottom of the lake, iconic kind of like, and then I don't know if we get another Jason noise when the mask hits the bottom.
Yeah,
we
I
do,
feel
right?
Like once it's at the bottom, you get
you
the
hear the bit of the
kill, mama.
It's funny. It is kill, mama, but tell me it don't sound like
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get that little noise where it's just like, ooh, they kind of leave you on possibility for a sequel. And then they definitely do in the killer cut, because I don't know, does this happen in the theatrical where he pops up out of the dock and grabs her like in the original?
But I don't think it's like as long.
Okay.
So
because I'll be honest, I didn't watch the theatrical cut.
Neither did I.
I just watched the killer cut twice.
Yeah. So they were So yeah, that's how this movie ends. There was a sequel planned for this, and then it was supposed to be a direct sequel. It was going to come out the summer of 2010, and it was going to start out apparently like there's not like too much known about it, but obviously, because of the fuckery that's always going on with the rights for Friday the 13th, it ended up not happening. I think it's like Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham have like it's like their bullshit with the rights issue, because like one of them owns like one aspect of the franchise, another owns the other aspect. I don't know, but yeah, the sequel was supposed to happen. It was supposed to start out in a wintry scene and all this. Like it was gonna be Jason in the snow, And then there was going to be
so that's where we got Never Hike Alone.
exactly. They ended
the
up getting
winter
the
sequel.
inspiration for that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was going to be like backstory on Jason's father. His name was Elias, and Pamela Voorhees
I
killed
could have
him.
totally done without a Jason's father backstory.
Exactly.
No thanks.
I don't want any more backstories. No, I don't. So I don't know. Like that could have been like kind of cool. But it's worth mentioning. Like, yeah, Never Hike Alone, which is like a fan made Jason series kind of.
Where they bring back Tom Matthews' character. As Tommy
they bring
Jarvis.
Yep. So they have
they were gonna try to bring a Tommy Jarvis into this. I was reading, but ended up like not going that direction, which I'm kind of happy they didn't.
I mean, that could have been all right.
I don't know. I feel as much as I do love the Tommy Jarvis character, especially Tom Matthews in part 6. Love me some Tom Matthews.
You got to set it up right, man. You know, because the Tommy Jarvis in, part 4 and New Beginning and in Jason Lives, like it was just like set up perfectly, so it's just like, I don't think like you'd be able to throw in an adult Tommy Jarvis right away.
Yeah.
Possibly it could work. But I like how he's the kid and then he's like dealing with this trauma and then he progresses,
Yeah.
So, but I do love Tommy Jarvis. I think he's a great character.
Hell yeah, man. Great character, especially like the Tom Matthews portrayal of Tommy Jarvis. Also like the kid Corey Feldman portrayal is fun.
Die!
I was always jealous of like the masks in his room because I'm like, how the fuck does this kid get these masks? Then you realize like it's Tom Savini's like leftover shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, duh. But as a kid, I was super fucking jealous.
He's like super creative, man,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, that's Friday the 13th, 2009. A little bit more backstory on, sequel that was kind of planned. There was also a TV show that was planned called like Crystal Lake Memories, something or other.
Which we got a good documentary out of that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I believe that is the name.
Oh, no, my bad.
Which I think is on the extras of this.
I got confused for a second. Let me reiterate. So Crystal Lake Memories is a an additional documentary on
the whole series franchise. Yep.
It's like really long. It's like 4 hours.
Yeah.
But there was a TV series that was planned a couple of years ago. If you go online, maybe I'll throw in some of the concept art because like there was a concept art for the hockey mask for Jason, all this shit. And then obviously this shit ended up falling through.
Well, now it's coming back.
Now it's coming back.
Yeah. And they got, what's her name that played Velma in the live action Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but she's playing the Pamela Voorhees character. I don't really know how a TV series is going to work per se, but I'm going to have an open mind to it and see like where it goes. It may or may not work, but I'm
curious. There's also supposedly a Halloween series coming.
I don't want that either, man.
Nah, I've got my reservations about that. I mean, I'll obviously peep it just to see what the fuck that's about, but like maybe if they just focus on like Haddonfield itself, because like there's a lot of lore with Haddonfield.
Yeah.
And like bring up more like the events that went on in Russellville. What about like, the fucking dude
the guy
that fucking
hacked up his wife and kids?
Yeah, like give me more of that shit maybe.
I don't know, man. TV shows are just like they're fucking hard for me to comprehend.
I get it, man. I'm not the biggest TV show person.
Or not yeah, right. Me either. I shouldn't say comprehend, but it's so hard for me to kind of like mentally process like how is this gonna pan out for fucking a season,
Yeah.
Like you might be able to get one season out of like a Friday the 13th, right? Because you'll just film it like a movie and then fucking break it up, but then it's like, what are you gonna do for a season 2, for a season 3? You know what I mean?
At that point, it's just like you're going into movie territory. Like how the fuck?
It's just like make a fucking another movie out of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanna say though that I wasn't satisfied with the idea that they had for a direct sequel to this film at all. I thought that kind of could have been ass. You know, whatever in the woods or whatever in the winter, you know, it wasn't going to be entirely in the winter. It was going to start out that way, and then it was going to progress into like the camp counselor thing, everything like that. Could have kind of been cool. Definitely no fucking backstory. Don't want any backstory. But these last couple of days, man, leading up to this, I've just been fucking thinking, and I was like, what would I write for this? What would my sequel be? And I mean, I'm a little nervous because I have it written down and I want to share it, but I'm a little nervous, man. I don't want this to be asked and make a fool out of myself on my own show.
I'll leave this up to you, brother. If
I'm going to
wanna,
just fucking do it. Whatever.
I think it's pitch me your idea.
It's a treatment that I wrote, and I wrote like a couple like key points as to like why I feel like this is going to work. And things like that. I worked hard on this, man. I think it's kind of cool.
Listen, when you read me the script for that vampire short where they're like the pizza place is
yes, you liked it?
I envisioned every scene.
Okay. And
in my
that
head.
and I think that you will with this too. So
I was like, yo, this is sick. This is sick.
I think you're gonna like this, man, because I like it. I would like to see it. And famously, like I'm gonna say, like Jordan Peele, he always says, you know, he makes his favorite movie that he's never seen yet, right? So like that's kind of where I am with this. I'm like, all right, like I would like to see this. So you ready for me to read this?
Yeah.
And I just want to say that anybody out there listening who hears this and likes it, I'm a writer-director. I will make this. Hit me up. Okay? All rights reserved. All rights reserved to the rightful right holders. This is just fucking purely fan-made. Okay? So I'm just gonna title it Friday the 13th Part 2. Okay? So, as it goes, ready? The film opens continuing directly from the 2009 reboot. In a flashback sequence during the title credits, Jason smashes through the dock and Whitney is dragged underwater. Clay jumps in to save her but is stabbed during the struggle. Whitney escapes, Clay's body surfaces, and Jason vanishes. So now, after the events of the 2009 film, what's left of Camp Crystal Lake is demolished and buried by the town, an attempt to erase its dark history. 5 years later, Camp Stillwater opens up a few miles away, offering a fresh start. 2 counselors arrive early to the camp before the rest of the staff. On the way, they stop at a small diner in a nearby town. A waitress, quiet and observant, listens as they casually talk about their summer ahead. The waitress is Whitney, now living under a new identity in a neighboring town. She overhears them mention Camp Stillwater, and her expression now darkens. That night, the 2 camp counselors arrive to the camp bunking together and are killed while having sex in a callback to the iconic spear kill from Friday the 13th Part 2. The next day, the remaining counselors arrive, but nothing seems off at first. The missing pair are written off as just being late. We meet the core cast. Campfire stories, skinny dipping, and partying build the mood, but Jason lurks nearby watching. Whitney arrives at the camp under the guise of an additional staff and is welcomed by the others. The two counselors end up sneaking off to explore and end up finding the ruins of Camp Crystal Lake. While they're exploring the ruins, they find the abandoned car of the missing pair of camp counselors from the beginning. They rush back to report it. Now enter our sheriff. His name is Colt Matthews. He's a local nearby Camp Crystal Lake, and he arrives to investigate the car, the missing pair, and meet with the counselors who found it. The discovery draws others to the ruins, including Whitney, where she's been before. During the group's interaction with Sheriff Matthews, it's revealed that Colt's sister, Sarah, is a counselor at Camp Stillwater. Colt also takes an interest in Whitney. She's kind, composed, and attractive, which lowers his guard. They share a bit of friendly banter. So now back at the camp, the sun sets and the killings continue. The body count begins to rise up. Whitney, Sarah, and a handful of others are fighting to survive. So this is like the rising action of the film. Back at the police station, while digging through old Camp Crystal Lake files, Colt finds a missing persons flyer. The same one Clay, Whitney's brother, was handing out in the 2009 film, and realizes just who Whitney really is, and he rushes to the camp because he fears that Whitney might be dangerous. Colt arrives just in time to see the truth that Jason is real and back. After his sister Sarah is killed, Colt and Whitney set a trap in Jason's tunnels. A plan to ignite the space with old fuel canisters and trap Jason in the fire. But a thunderstorm rolls in, heavy rain pours through the cracks of the ruined structures, dousing most of the fire. Unexpectedly, the collapsing debris tears through an old power conduit, exposing electrical wires. The soaked environment turns the trap into something far more dangerous. Jason charges through the tunnel, and Colt and Whitney drive him straight into the live wires. The water now floods the floors as electricity surges. Jason's body is caught in a web of sparks and electrical wires, and his body starts convulsing. Colt finishes him off by driving a machete through his skull. Call back to part 3. The final shot, Colt and Whitney emerge from the collapsed tunnel as police lights approach in the distance. Back in the tunnel, we hold on a shot of Jason's dead body strung and smoldering the electrical wires. Fade to the credits.
Definitely could work. Definitely could work.
Post-credit scene.
Oh, okay.
Jason's body hangs in the wires, scorched and smoking in the collapsed ruins under the underground tunnels. A rumble of thunder is heard when suddenly lightning strikes the wreckage. We see a jolt of white electricity go through Jason's body. His fingers twitch. His eyes snap open. We hold on his eye between the bloody hockey mask. Cut to kill, mom. So this is now building up to have Jason come back in the third film
as undead Jason. Because you got, the whole like wiring like shit, live wires that gives me like the part 7.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, dude. And then you got the part 6 fucking, lightning strike,
Yep.
Frankenstein revival.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just I was like thinking of all the elements of the things that I liked, and just like some key points as to why I think that would work. We're portraying Jason in this film, as part 4 versions. He's silent, brutal, lurking in the shadows, which I think is great. No over-explaining any more backstory bullshit. Jason is present, but he's not our focus in this. We'll do like some cool fucking practical grounded kills. I love like the head squeeze. Like that'd be sick.
Yeah. I like the spear kill.
Yeah.
The callback to part 2.
Not supernatural yet, but I do love a supernatural undead Jason.
Well, you could make him a bit stronger. He's got that strength. So,
yeah.
You just can't have him like teleporting.
Yeah, no. I look, man, I'm just saying, I wrote that, and then whoever makes part 3 can figure it the fuck out, right?
Yeah.
How to do it.
Yeah, that's brother, what I think.
Could that work?
I think that could totally work, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. Like I would tell you, like, nah, man, I can't foresee that. But I could totally foresee that as like a solid treatment for a sequel for sure.
Yo, I got hyped with the fucking the post credit, man.
Yeah.
So
that would have been sick.
I need to have that. So yeah, man, that's my pitch. That's my treatment.
Give this man some money.
Give me some money, man. Let's just fucking do it. I'm ready to do it. I'll write.
Let's get the Friday the 13th back on track.
Yeah, let's get it back on track. And I mean, speaking of that though, man, I definitely feel like the 2009 version was a solid way to get this back on track. And it was just like very unfortunate that because of all the bullshit with the rights and the lawsuits and things, and it also like fucked up the video game too, like the Friday the 13th video game. Like, they made that game. I loved that game. It was an awesome survival game. You either play it as a counselor or you play it as Jason and hunted all of them. It was awesome. And then they were working on a storyline for it, which would have been awesome. And then they were just like, we got to throw our hands up. We can't do any more developing on it. And then it just sat forever. And now apparently the servers are down. You can't even play it anymore.
It's bullshit.
Unless you have the physical copy, then you could do it. But I had
That's
gotten it on
why
digital.
Physical media will always matter.
Physical
We
media.
can't stress
brother.
that enough on this show. It will always matter.
It's true.
It'll never die.
But yeah, man. So, any final thoughts on this film, man? Like,
Yeah, because I'm gonna give my final thoughts into my rating.
all right, I love it.
I think overall it's a solid remake. The look of Jason minus the coat. Derek Mears is Jason, great kills, good effects, good pacing. This is one of the longest Friday the 13th, coming in an hour and 45 minutes next to Friday the 13th Part 8, which is like an hour and 40 minutes. So, yeah, I think the pacing's great. Hot opening. It does a good job of giving you a bit of Part 2 into Part 3. I just don't like our main characters, minus Clay and Whitney. I don't like the late 2000s music. Sometimes it takes me out of it. I think they definitely could have thrown in a bit of the Harry Manfredini like cues here and there, just pepper it in just a little bit, But
yeah, if he was like lurking around a little bit.
yeah,
more,
especially like when he's like lurking and shit, and like maybe some of the chase scenes too, But like again, the characters, the dialogue, yeah, the ending could have been a bit better, with the wood chipper shit. But overall, it's a solid remake. I had one hell of a time seeing it opening weekend. I know you did too. And yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts and my rating on it. Out of 10, I give it a 6.5, 6.7, somewhere around there, like 6.5, 6.5 out of 10.
Kind of middle of the road-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I mean, a lot of like what you're saying, I'm with you on it, man. I feel like that this was a good remake, a good reboot. I definitely think that this put them on the right path to reestablishing this franchise. I agree with you. Characters, yeah, didn't really like them so much. I really liked Clay. I thought he was probably the best of the bunch. Loved Jason. Derek Mears absolutely did a fucking phenomenal job. I love the look of Jason, man. I like what Scott Stoddard did with the look, masked and unmasked. I do think the coat's cool. I like the undershirt. I like a running Jason, dude.
Running Jason is scary, and it's been done between 2, 3, and 4, so I don't want to hear any complaints.
Love it. Yeah, I like a running Jason. It makes him just like so much more scary. It's like you can't get away from him, dude. Like I loved it. So it's like, so Derek Mears was like the perfect person for that. Perfect physique for it. Very believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot of like what I like, man. Yeah, kills were great. Kind of like some missed opportunities for a couple of them, but that's like not enough for me to like really fucking harp on it too much. Did not really love the ending. Didn't really do that much for me, but I can live with it, whatever. So look, man, final rating, I'm with you, man. 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, so I kind of also feel like, it was a little too polished, kind of too like polished looking, man. Not that gritty, and I would have liked a more gritty feel,
For
and
sure.
I know that Marcus
agree.
Nispel and I know that Daniel Pearl are 100% capable of that because they achieved it with the 2003 Texas Chainsaw remake, but also we're in present time, we're in 2009, so it's like maybe like that type of look in cinematography wouldn't have worked, but I do appreciate that aspect of the original films, and I kind of like the campier aspect in a sense more than so much of the modern grounded feel. I would have I wouldn't have brought this remake back, or I wouldn't have set it in present time.
I
would
agree.
have put it.
That's one of my complaints for sure.
Yeah, I would have put it in the late 80s, maybe in the 90s,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but that's just how I am. Because you know how like Robert Eggers, you've famously heard him say that it, like makes him like physically sick to his stomach to think about filming a cell phone or a modern car. That's why all his films are period pieces. I think for me personally, with what I would want to make, it's just I wouldn't be able to do anything set in a modern time, because then you're also dealing with the bullshit of the fucking music that doesn't
Yeah.
hold up in 2025 for some people. You
Absolutely.
know,
Just like in this, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely another like big gripe of mine, is it being set in modern times when
Right.
it came out.
you certainly
definitely-
put yourself in a position where it's like this may or may not hold up as time goes on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the I don't know, man. Like the 80s and the 90s were just like such a different time when it came to music, I'd say. And me and you were just like so big on music. Like that's like kind of like those are like timeless tracks, man. Like Teenage Frankenstein,
Mm-hmm.
fucking awesome.
Oh fuck, dude! Love is a Lie and
you-
Friday Part 4.
You
When
know what
Crispin Glover's dancing to.
You know what I mean? Like all of that holds up. All of that will hold up. But and you see, like you're able to fucking riff off the top of your head who that was. Like who were these? What were these fucking songs?
I couldn't fucking tell you, dude.
So it's like that's why I feel like it's better to probably set your shit in the past, because I think like since it's in the past, it's gonna hold up better. You know. So yeah, that's my long-winded. I guess my only gripe with it, and I'm glad that we both agree on it, brother.
Yeah. No, brother, this was a fun talk.
Amazing talk.
You
man.
know,
Had
it's
lot
been
of
a
fun doing
while
that.
since I've watched this remake, so it was a fun revisit.
So would you say though that this holds up?
Some aspects do,
Okay,
but
yeah.
like the 2000s, late 2000s parts don't. Like I said, I hate the dialogue, I hate the music.
Okay.
I agree that it's a little too polished. But other parts of it, like Derek Muir's as Jason, holds up. The
Yeah.
kills hold up.
Okay.
Like the overall like core plot
Right.
holds up. That hot opening holds up.
All right. So
Yeah.
overall, the film holds up.
Yeah, overall it
Yeah.
holds up, and like it is a fun
Doesn't
one.
fall by the wayside, you know, because sometimes like, like I'll be honest, man. Like I went back a couple years ago and I watched all the Resident Evil movies. And I was like, these fucking movies suck, man. I'm like, they don't.
I like
hold up
I like
at
part
all.
2, Raccoon City.
Like with Mia or Jojokovic, whatever her name is, or you?
Yeah, when
Yeah?
she's in, when they're in Raccoon City and Stars shows up and Nemesis.
Dude, I remember Nemesis being so much more sick, and it's just like after I had seen it, I was like, this fucking movie is just like sucks. That's why like I'm excited for Zach Krager.
I am too.
To kind of take this on. Zach Krager's going to do a great job with that. He's going to kind of make it a little bit more grounded in the sense of like the actual video game aspect, which I think they always kind of lost sight of with those films.
Yes, I agree.
And apparently they're trying to get Mikey Madison to be in it, which I think could be cool. She was in Nora, Oscar-winning actress. Could be cool. Could see her in the role. But yeah, man. So that's enough about that. To wrap this up, man, got any new shit?
I do, brother. I do. Hold on just a second here. I've got recently picked up Grindhouse releasing the Beyond 4K UHD Maestro Fulci. There's your
too.
copy.
Yeah.
Yours still looks sealed there.
Yeah, I have not
Yo,
opened it up yet.
When you open it up, I'm telling you right now, watch the composer's cut.
Composer's cut?
It's in
Okay.
4K UHD.
Okay. I'll probably pop this tonight, man.
Yo, watch it tonight.
And
We
then
watched
City
it
of-
last
and then
Saturday.
City of the Living Dead, maybe throw that on too, right?
Hell yeah. Great. Gates of Hell trilogy. Yo, the Book of Avon, sick. But
That's so cool. I haven't
do
even opened my
not-
shit up. I have it right here.
I do not like how the discs are stored in these sleeves.
That's how
it's a
the
gr-
Al Adamson set is too.
It's
just
a gripe of mine.
a lot of people don't like that. Yep.
I get worried about the discs, but yo, look at, you got the classic posters. Again, the Book of Avon, you know, it's embroidered. You know, it's hard covered, which is so sick.
I'm fucking cracking this open right now, bro.
Yeah, and then
Whatever.
we got a nice thick booklet of the man himself,
I
Lucio
love that
Fulci,
shot of
on the
Fulci,
fucking
dude.
bridge.
Yeah.
Which
This is nice.
Dude, it's
This
great.
is nice.
Yeah. And there's a lot of cool write-ups and like again more poster art and shit in there. You've got Emily on the back with Dickie.
So this is the definitive. Now,
Yo, this is the so I have the original.
Yeah.
I have the original Blu-ray release from Grindhouse Releasing with the glow-in-the-dark slipcover. But yeah, no, I had to. Also, real quick, I forgot to mention, it does come with a little eyeball with
I got a green eye too.
with the sign of Avon. And now I've also got, this just came in the mail the other day. My wonderful fiance picked up, because she loved the Beyond so much, she picked up the composer's cut score from Cadabra Records. It is fucking beautiful. Look at Schweik there. I'll open up. You've got the Seven Doors Hotel. And then
Sounds great, I bet.
oh, brother. I was listening to it like after we had breakfast and she was on a walk. Holy fuck, man. I'm telling you, watch the composer's cut.
I will. I'm going to watch it tonight.
It is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely going to watch
The picture
that shit
quality, the sound quality. Again, Fabio Frizzi, who scored a lot of Fulci's films. Like I said, he just like reworked the score because there's moments where there's like no score.
tonight. Okay.
And he's like, nah, I'm fucking adding shit. And like added a bit more guitars to it. And it is just fucking dude. It was like seeing this movie for the first time all over again. It was phenomenal.
Well, with the added stuff, it just adds a little bit more
oh my God.
zazz to it, you know?
I am so thankful for this release. It's fucking beautiful. I just wish, like I said, the discs were not in these kind of sleeves, but I get the design because they wanted to put it in the Book of Avon. It's one of his most iconic films next to Zombie. You know, when everyone talks Fulci, they either talk Zombie or The Beyond first. And, when I first saw this movie, I saw the Artisan early DVD days, bare bones of Seven Doors of Death, which is the U.S. bullshit heavily cut version.
Censored.
But as a kid, that scared the shit out of me. But then finally seeing when Anchor Bay had put out The Beyond uncut, and then they eventually Grindhouse Releasing did the Blu-ray. Yeah, man, this is a must for any Italian horror fan or Fulci fan. Like, get this while you can because it is a great release. And also to that, I got Hyper Gore director, DIY, the man himself, Brian Paulins, Bone Sickness. I have the Unearthed DVD. Look at that fucking beautiful slipcover. I missed out because Kristen and I were at a show on a Tuesday night in Poughkeepsie. It was Division of Mind, Demonstration of Power, Crush Your Soul, and Pitch Black Tomb. And I had missed your message that the slips were selling like
Texted
wildfire.
Kristen too.
Yeah, and
I
she
should have
told
gotten
me
you a copy, man. I'm sorry.
it's all good, brother. Like I said, I was at the show. I'm really bummed I missed out on the slip because it's beautiful, but at least I still got a copy because this Saturn's Core audio and video partner label of Vinegar Syndrome, this is completely out of print now.
You might be able to score one at VHS Fest because
If there
Core is going to probably be there.
They'll definitely be there because one of their movies is being shown, I think.
I'm not sure.
Or like something, usually they show something that they have in their catalog.
Okay.
They got that working partnership with the Mahoning Drive-In. So if it's still there, they still have some slips, yeah, I'm double dipping. And I'll just part ways with this copy if I can sell it. Or get store credit on Orbit DVD. Because I also got to try to get rid of my Tenebrae now that my basic Arrow. And I got a couple of other things that I'm trying to just get for store credit.
Yeah, I'm working through my shit. So I pretty much got all the same shit that you have, and what I'm gonna show you now, you also have, but I don't know why you didn't show it.
Oh, yes, I did not. Yes, Kristen also picked up.
Come on, man.
Yo, actually, hold on.
Sick.
Let me go grab because I have mine. We have ours open.
Go grab it.
I'll go grab it. Bear with me. from Waxwork Records. Man, I love that I'm marrying someone who also appreciates physical media as
Yeah.
much as me.
Well, she got me into
with
records,
her record
man.
collection.
Yep. She got me into
Here
it.
we are. First time ever on vinyl, I believe. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Waxwork Records. Here's the front. You got the back with Pretty Woman.
Oh my god.
But then,
perfect.
yo,
One of my favorite
so
scenes
have you
ever.
seen the inside yet?
I haven't opened mine now, man.
You ready?
Yeah.
Brother.
Oh, the dinner scene. I love it. I'm gonna I gotta throw mine on maybe
So fucking
tomorrow,
sick,
man. You know,
man.
with my coffee in the morning.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah.
It's not the most pleasing soundtrack to the ear, but it is what it is, you know.
Yo, so fucking sick.
Yeah, I'm glad that
that inner
released
cover
it, man.
sleeve. Oh my
Yeah.
god, man.
They're the best in the business, man.
Yo, they're good. And Cadabra Records, dude, because like we have the Fulci Zombie composer, the Fabio Frizzi composer's cut, and the artwork on that too, like, is so sick. Like, fuck, man. Yo, and just again, I only listened to side A, like in between getting ready to record, and I'm like, this shit sounds so good. And that score, again, is on the composer's cut version of the 4K UHD.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, I'm excited
if
for all
you
that.
end up really loving The Beyond, is this your first time watching The Beyond?
Yeah, man. Never seen it before.
Oh, man, you're in for
I had
a
to buy
fucking
it,
treat.
though. I like Fulci, so I've never seen
You
this
are
one,
in
though.
for a treat.
Yeah.
And I think after this, something tells me you're going to end up picking up the Cadabra Records Beyond.
Yeah,
composer's
no,
cut.
it's possible.
I think so, man.
Tell Kristen to please send me the link, okay?
Sure, you got it, brother. I will.
So yeah, man. I think it's time to wrap this up, brother.
All right. The best way you could support Dead With My Friends podcast is going to our website at www.deadwithmyfriendspodcast.com, where we have the latest episodes, past episodes, current merch drops, previous merch drops, anything we're doing, you could find out there. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We are on all of your podcast streaming services. You can find us on there.
And also, come see us at VHS Fest this year because we're going to be vending. We're going to have fucking dope shirts. Come and fucking say hi, man. We're going to fucking be there all weekend. This is going to drop before
Except for
then.
Sunday.
Except for Sunday. So if you're listening, you're going to VHS Fest, we want to hang out. So with all that being said, I am Nick.
And I am Steve, and we will see you in the next dimension.
Peace.